This is the gateway to Srinagar's downtown. In historical accounts, the Srinagar city has been referred to as Shahar-e-Kashmir or the city of Kashmir. In local idiom, some know Srinagar's downtown as Shahar-e-Khaas or a special part of the city. The 14th century is considered a defining moment in the city's history. Religious architecture of the place manifests its syncretic traditions. Downtown Srinagar's history is traced back to over a millennia. It has its unique identity, culture, scent, sentiment, humor, and charm. Essentially a borough covering 8 bridges from Habak-Kadal right up to Safa-Kadal, downtown is also known for producing art and literature, and much more. This is Zain-ul-Abidin Bridge, old Zain-ul-Abidin Bridge. To my right, there is another bridge which is Fateh-Kadal, and the downtown or Srinagar's Shahar-e-Kashmir or Shahar-e-Khaas starts right from Habak-Kadal, Fateh-Kadal, and this Zain-ul-Abidin, and then we have 4 other bridges right up to Safa-Kadal, and this along the Jhelum embankment, the entire residences on either side of the Jhelum is the downtown, the heart of downtown. And you can see this old building behind me. This belonged to one Jafar Ali Khan in Dogra times, and he was a trader. Business was pearls. And then to my immediate left here was a building owned by Kashmiri Pandits, the Bamzai family, where historians and experts say that Rabindranath Tagore has also stayed in that house. From the city centre Lal Chowk's famed clock tower, Srinagar's downtown is a journey of less than 5 kilometers. According to latest estimates, population of the entire Srinagar city is roughly 1.7 million, while downtown Srinagar remains densely populated with about 500,000 inhabitants. Meet Hakim Samir Hamdani, the author of 2 books. Hamdani is an expert on architecture of sacred places in the region, and as a Srinagarite himself, he writes about the city's architecture and its history.
Historically, at least during the medieval period and early modern period, this city was known as Shahar-e-Kashmir, the city of Kashmir. So in the end, Srinagar personifies the intellectual, the artistic and the craft traditions of Kashmir in totality. So it represents everything that we are known for, famous for. So in a way, it is what we say in Kashmiri, the word we say is Agur. It is the fountainhead of our culture, it's the fountainhead of our civilization. And in a larger way, if you speak about the architecture, some of the most prominent monuments that you find in Kashmir, and these are living monuments also, are located within this city. So it has that urban sort of nature to it in terms of the fact that you have the patronage of the court, you have the patronage of the urban elite who have sort of invested in buildings which are in the end an outpouring of your dedication towards a certain faith and a faith system.
Downtown Srinagar has earned a reputation for a resilient culture of its people.
This part of the Srinagar city, which is known as downtown or Shahar-e-Khaas, has been the center of social, cultural, commercial, political and literary activities of Kashmir for almost 200 years now. And then the reading room party, all the political gatherings, or the whole social revival, the cultural revival, the art and the craft thrived in this part of the city.
In the narrow lanes and by-lanes of downtown Srinagar, one gets immersed in its architectural marvels. One of the distinguished structures in downtown Srinagar is this mausoleum, built by Sultan Zain-ul-Abidin, a 15th century popular ruler of Kashmir, for his mother. Behind me you can see Sultan Zain-ul-Abidin's own grave resting place. This is an important spot in Srinagar's downtown.
This is the only surviving mausoleum that we have in Kashmir, and it's dedicated to a woman, not to a man.
Okay.
So the sultans are buried outside in that second quarter out there. So if you generally see our architecture, we have the spire, whether these are mosques, whether these are shrines, whether these are any religious structure, a khanka, it will have a spire. This has a dome, a central dome and 4 side domes. Architecture is basically inspired by what we call the Timurid architecture. So the architecture that was at Samarkand, Bukhara, Herat, these are the regions where it came up.
During the reign of King Zain-ul-Abidin, also known as Bud Shah, this part of the city was once a hub of economic activities.
During the Dogra regime, we have this first major organized under one roof bazaar, which is the Esar Bazaar.
19th century?
That is late 19th century, Maharaja Ranbir Singh. So that's why it's named after Maharaja. Esarganj Market. And the idea was that all your major crafts should be located in there, because this is also the time when Kashmir art becomes a phenomenon. So people keep on selling things, so they thrive Europe. So it starts thriving. But apparently most of the travelers speak about the fact that Fateh Kadal continued as the hub of the Kashmir market, though Maharajganj was also there.
With respect to downtown.
With respect to the downtown, but then again Maharajganj became a market for the city itself.
यह महाराजा की एक तवारीखी तिजारती मंडी है जिसको 19वीं सदी में महाराजा रणबीर सिंह ने कायम किया था। ये प्री 97 और पोस्ट 97 एक बिजनेस हब था जो नॉर्थ साउथ यहीं से सब बिजनेस होता था। ये एक इंटरनेशनल मार्केट था। यहाँ से सेंट्रल एशिया को सब माल जाता था और ये फिर उसके बाद इंटरनेशनल से नेशनल बन गया और सब फिर यहाँ से फिर लोकल बन गया। ये सब डिस्ट्रिक्टों में जितने भी नॉर्थ साउथ के डिस्ट्रिक्ट से थ्रू वाटर ट्रांसपोर्ट ये माल जाता था यहाँ से।
This is Srinagar's historical central mosque, or the Jamia Masjid. It is one of the iconic religious structures of downtown. Considered one of the oldest mosques in Kashmir, the Jamia Masjid, as per historians, was built in 1394 by Sultan Sikandar Shah Kashmiri Shahmiri. Other records claim it was built in 1402. Experts say this architectural splendor has suffered multiple fires and was rebuilt. The last renovation is said to have taken place under Aurangzeb's rule in the 17th century.
Predominantly, you'd find that the architecture is Hellenic, and then it gets sort of, with the coming of Muslims, with the coming of Islam in the 14th century, it gradually absorbs Persianate influences. So gradually you find many features here which would be sort of similar in that wider geography which you call the Persianate land, from Bukhara all the way up to Khurasan. You find these architectural examples which then get incorporated in the architecture itself. But predominantly, if you speak about the living architecture of this period which we see today, you'll find mostly from the Persianate lands, but the overall form, the sort of that vrang, we have the sort of the pyramidal shape, it is something that dates back to the Hindu temple, and that borrows from the Greek architecture itself.
If you consider downtown a body, this Jamia Masjid is the heart of downtown. Downtown Srinagar is also an attraction for visitors for heritage walks, architectural grammar, old shops, and also the mouth-watering street food. Fighting erasure of memory is important. Once you visit downtown Srinagar, its fragrance stays with you. That's perhaps why its magnetic attraction cannot be undermined by any stretch. If you're drawn to stories of heritage, craftsmanship, and the resilient spirit of Kashmir, downtown Srinagar is for you. It's an emotion, a sentiment, and feeling. Come here, feel it, see it, live it to believe it. Because in downtown Srinagar, the past is not only preserved and remembered, it's alive.